Can you remove a belly button piercing hole? Belly button piercing hole? Yes, you can. The problem with kind of piercing holes, and it's not uncommon to get people wanting piercing holes removed, is that a piercing hole has to be kind of excised. You have to kind of core it out, because obviously it's going through and through, whether it be a belly button or an ear or a nose or a lip or whatever. It's going kind of all the way through, kind of obviously. So you have to core out that hole, because it's kind of epithelialized. It's a skin-lined tunnel, really. And you have to core out the whole tunnel and then close the whole tunnel down. But that means it's going to leave you with a scar on your skin. And so sometimes cosmetically, the scar can look similar to what the piercing looks like. Obviously, it won't be a hole, but it'd be kind of like a red mark. And also, because you have to cut out that whole tunnel, the scar is a little bit bigger than the piercing hole was. So the scar is often bigger than the piercing hole. So it's a dubious one. Piercing hole removal surgery is like, yeah, it needs consultation, really. Needs a chat to see whether you are realistic about what you're going to achieve, because we don't want to make you unhappy. We don't want to say, hold on a minute, it looks worse than it did before, because that is a risk. To be brutally frank with you, that is a risk. It could look worse than it did before, because you could end up with, I mean, we're not talking crazy things here, but a little bit of a bigger mark than what the hole was. Now, it won't be a hole, and sometimes I understand, you know, if you're moisturizing and stuff like that, you can get moisturizing cream and stuff in the hole, and that can be a nuisance. So obviously you get rid of that problem. It's no longer a hole. So if the whole aspect of it is a problem for you, then maybe having it removed would be a good idea. But if the look of it is, if it's the look of it you don't like, if you don't like the cosmetic aspect of it, then I would be anxious and cautious about removing it, because you might not like the look of the scar. In fact, you might think the scar looks worse than the hole looked. And so it is something to be consider before you go ahead with the surgery, because if you are unhappy with the scar, not an awful lot you can do about it, to be quite frank with you. If you have that piercing hole removed and you've got a little line scar and you don't like it, it's like, unless there's a specific problem with the scar, then there's not an awful lot you can do about it. So yeah, it's a tricky one, but piercing holes is a tricky one. You might think it's easy, you might think it's straightforward. Yeah, get a plastic surgeon, he'll remove that. Not, yes, we can remove it, but ...